Hi guys, welcome back to another reading vlog. If this is the first time watching one of my videos, welcome. My name is Myra. For today's reading vlog, we are going to be reading new releases, but specifically books with a male POV. I feel like most of the time we read books with a female perspective, so let's start with the first one, which is If Only I Had Told Her. This is the sequel to If He Had Been With Me, and yeah, let's get started. That while I was going to be reading this book, I was going to need to annotate. That's why I took out my tabs, my highlighters, my pens, because in the first book, If He Had Been With Me, I remember while reading that book, there were a lot of lines, a lot of quotes that I wanted to annotate. And this book is heading that way as well. For example, here Finn is talking about Autumn and he's saying, "My devotion to Autumn is engraved on my very being. I am in awe of her. I will sit in the stands and cheer her on in life as her most ardent admirer. I know I will always love her in the same way I know I'll always need oxygen." Like, how sweet. So it's the next day and I'm currently on page 100, so I figured it was time for an update. If I'm not mistaken, we are 1/4 into the book. I'm trying to see the last page without any spoilers. Yeah, last page I think is 391, so we are 1/4 into the book. And basically all these 100 pages have been Finney's point of view. I don't want to say too much because this is book 2, so I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't read book 1. But basically, it's like we are rereading If He Had Been With Me, except that now it's in a different POV. We are now seeing it from Finney's point of view, which I honestly have been enjoying reading this. I have been having a good time. It's kind of like a refresher to what we already have read and If He Had Been With Me. But I don't know how I feel about that because, again, it's kind of like we are rereading If He Had Been With Me. So we kind of already know most of the stuff. I think the only thing that's being given to us now, that's new to us now, is the exact feelings of Finney. But I've been enjoying it. I've been having a good time. I've been annotating. Like, it's not that it's bad, but I do want to point out that it's basically like we are being retold the same story with little bits of new information, which are Finney's feelings, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I'm gonna keep on reading. We are at the part where If you know, you know. Finny and Autumn spend the night. If you know, you know. But yeah, let's continue. So we are back home. I've done some more reading, but I figured it was time for an update because I have arrived at the part where the second POV begins. This book is told in 3 different POVs, but I'll get to that in a minute. I have finished. I am currently on page 149. This is the end of Finn's POV. And basically we have arrived to the point of the tragedy, the end. If you know, you know. If you read the first book, then you already know, but just in case you haven't read the first book, I won't say exactly what happens. But like I had said before, basically the first part, Finn's POV, is just a retelling of If He Had Been With Me, the first book, except that we are getting bits of new information. We are finding out things that we possibly didn't know about the way he felt, about a few of their friends, but most of it, I want to say that we basically were retold the story If He Had Been With Me. So I enjoyed it. I think it was good to kind of refresh our minds of what happened, but there wasn't anything like, oh my god, like, if I explain myself. But yeah, so we are now going to start the second POV, and I think it's obvious which POVs we are going to be seeing, reading. In the back of the book we get the synopsis, and at the end it says, told through 3 different perspectives. If Only I Had Told Her is a love story brimming with truth, tragedy, and the unexpected bonds that heal us. But before that, there's 3 different paragraphs, and each paragraph starts with a different name. So I think that made me think that it was obvious which 3 POVs we were getting. But if you don't want to know, then skip this part. But I think it was obvious which POV we were getting, and so I am going to be starting the next POV. And I think from reading If He Had Been With Me, I was not expecting this extra POV. But now that we read more of Finny's part, I guess it makes sense why we are now going to be reading this POV. And I think I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what this person has to say in his point of view. So let's begin. So we are moving along. I am on page 340. So I'm around 50 pages away from the end. We're almost there. I'm currently on Autumn's POV. Just wanted to give a quick update. I finished Jack's POV. It was very interesting to see his point of view, to see his side of what's going on right now, how he's dealing with the tragedy. That's all I can say, basically. It was really interesting to see what's happening beyond the tragedy more than anything. But yeah, I'll give you guys another update when I am done with the book, because again, this is book number 2, so I don't want to say too much and spoil anything. But I also wanted to let you guys know that I have started a new book, and I'm actually starting this on audio. I've been seeing the book Good Material by Dolly Alderton all over, and it got me really interested in it. Basically, Good Material is about a man named Andy who is currently 35 years old, and he just broke up with his girlfriend whom he was with for 4 years. So it had been a long relationship. Apparently things had been moving along, But she broke up with him. Jen broke up with him, and he is now dealing with the breakup, and we are being told how he's dealing with the breakup. So I am starting that, and I will give you updates as we go along with the book. We are back, and I have finished If Only I Had Told Her. I think I'm gonna leave readings to the end of the video. It was not a 5-star read for me, but I did enjoy reading this one. Of course, my favorite one is still book number 1, If He Had Been With Me, but it was nice to see the different POVs. It was nice to see what happens after the tragedy. So if you read the first book, I do recommend reading this one. It just wasn't my favorite, but it was still a good book. And I've also continued reading, or actually listening to, the audiobook Good Material. Like I had mentioned before, this book is about Andy, who recently broke up with his girlfriend Jen. And we've been seeing the different ways that he's trying to deal with the breakup. He's had a hard time dealing with the breakup because she broke up with him. And basically, he is not having a good time. He was already living with her, as they have been together for 4 years. So now he's without a home. He does stand-up comedy, and he's not at the highest point of his career. He's back to living with his mom and trying to look for a place for him to permanently live, and that's not necessarily going well. At one point, he ends up living in a boat, and I don't want to say more, but yeah, that's how bad it's going for him. He has his friends who are trying to help him get over it, but that also kind of makes him feel out of place because he is now 35 years old, and most of his friends are kind of settled. They either have a partner or they have children. They're doing good in their career, and so he feels like he is missing out. So it's kind of nice to see how a man is dealing with a breakup, and all the stuff and things that he is doing to kind of find a reason as to why Jen left him, and kind of also at the same time trying to get over her. And I am now with 1 hour left of the audiobook, but I just started this chapter right now where we are going to see, I hope I'm not spoiling anything. I don't think I saw this anywhere, so it's kind of shocking to hear the female voice, but now we are going to get Jen's POV, which I think is going to be interesting because by what Andy has been saying to us, it kind of feels like, you know, Jen is the one at fault. She's the one that left him, that maybe didn't see him as the right one. But I think it's going to be nice now that we are going to see what she has to say about the breakup. And I still wonder what's going to happen. Like, are they going to end up back together? Because now, finally, after a couple of months, Andy has finally, I guess, accepted the fact that they broke up. So I wonder now what's gonna happen. So I'm going to be listening to that and hopefully finish it while I update my reading journal. So let's get started. finished Good Material by Dolly Alderton. This was the first book that I read by this author, and I've been seeing this author all around, especially Good Material, but other books by this author, and I was not disappointed. I do want to read more books by Dolly Alderton. But before we get to that review, just my general thoughts on this reading vlog, because we read books that were with a male POV, which I found very interesting. I feel like most of the books that we read, or at least that I have read, are from a female point of view. So it was kind of nice to see these books being told from a male POV. I think the only books that I've read with a male POV are The Alchemist, which I think was also a young male, and what's the other book? It's another YA book. Oh, Upstate, yes. I read that one, that was also a really good book if I recall correctly. It's been a while since I read those books. I think I read those 2 years ago. But yeah, so it was really kind of a nice switch to read books from a male POV. So first off, we read If Only I Had Told Her This Book, sequel to If He Had Been With Me. I am going to be giving this book 4 stars. It was really nice to read again about Finney and Autumn. It was nice to kind of see the thoughts and feelings that Finney had for Autumn, and it was nice to see different POVs with everything that was happening. I was not expecting a POV from Jack, which is Finn's best friend, but I could kind of see why he was the one included in the book, and it was nice to see how, although they were all going through the same thing, they handle grief in different ways. And it was also good to see what went on with Autumn and her people, the people that surrounded her. So yes, I really enjoyed this book. I can't say much, as always. Like I keep on saying it throughout this whole vlog, because it is book number 2, so I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, I'm going to give this 4 stars. I still think that If He Had Been With Me is my favorite one. That one was definitely 5 stars. I think that in the first book you kind of feel more attached to the characters, but if you did read If He Had Been With Me, I do recommend reading this one. You kind of get a closure on everything that went on. So yeah, 4 stars. And then I also read the well, I actually listened to the audiobook Good Material by Dolly Alderton, and I'm going to give Good Material 4 stars. I really did enjoy the book. I loved the audiobook. This is the second audiobook that I listened to, because I just got into audiobooks this year, and both of the audiobooks that I have listened to have been with a British accent. It does take you a little bit of time, at least for me. It took me a little bit of time to kind of get used to the accent. There were parts where I did have to kind of rewind. I don't know if it's because I wasn't like just listening to the audiobook. Every time I would listen to audiobook, I was like either doing something else, so sometimes I did have to rewind it a little bit, but I did enjoy it. The narrators were great, both the male and female. They made you feel part of the book, but I'm giving it 4 stars because I feel like 80% of the book, which was Andy's POV, where he's going through all these things, trying to get over the breakup and finding reasons why Jen doesn't want to be with him, I feel like it was a bit slow. It's not that I was not enjoying the book or that I was not entertained, but I wasn't like dying to see what was next. Unlike like the last 20% of the book, which was Jen's POV, maybe it wasn't even 20%, like 15% of the book, like she kept you there. She like went straight to the point and everything. I guess maybe that's also the point of the book, to let you know that he had a harder time dealing with the breakup. But yeah, that's why I'm giving this a 4 stars. And overall, it was a great book. I am dying to try another Dolly Alderton book because, like I said before, I have been seeing books of this author all around social media. So yeah, so that is it for this vlog. And I was looking down at my journal because I wanted to see if I didn't forget any notes, but I think I will show you guys the journal post at the end of this video, because I need to add the stars on them. Like I'm almost done with them, but I need to add like the stars and just kind of do final touches to the journal post. So yeah, so that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments which male POV books you have read and enjoyed, and what kind of reading vlog should we do next. Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys all have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.